Welcome back. All right, so news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Sunday, September the 3rd. We are 3 days into September. Starting off with something that I hadn't seen posted and found it today, so we'll talk about it. The Pittsburgh Penguins making changes to their TV broadcast crew. Bob Airy and Steve Mears are both out of the Penguins broadcast booth. Radio play-by-play announcer Josh Getzoff will likely be taking over the play-by-play duties. At least I don't think that's been 100% announced yet, but it sounds like that's what's going to happen. And Colby Armstrong probably going to play a more prominent role. He may end up being upgraded to the color announcer. We'll see. But yeah, Pittsburgh making changes with their broadcast team. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding that. So this was something I was getting asked about yesterday, so I decided I'd go and dig around on the internet. So the Minnesota Wild's new third is leaked. It's this jersey. They just put like a shoulder patch on there that says State of Hockey. Outside of that, it looks like it's the exact same jersey. So we had known a while ago that the Minnesota Wild were going to be keeping this year's reverse retro as a third jersey. So I don't even know if that qualifies as a leak. It's exactly what we said they were going to do, and just they've added a shoulder patch there. So that's about it. We'll see how well that sells. And again, for Minnesota going with North Stars colors, I like it. I think it's fine as an alternate. You guys let me know your thoughts on that as well. For Calgary fans, so the discussion of who wants to stay and doesn't want to stay, Elias Lindholm saying he's open to staying in Calgary, so that's good news if he's willing to re-sign. And as I've been saying too with contracts, the earlier they get them re-signed, the cheaper they should be. With Lindholm, of course, it might be kind of tough to figure out an exact number. His totals were down last year from where they were previous, so I'm guessing that in terms of how much money he would be looking for, he'd probably be looking for a little bit more than what the numbers from last year would tell you, and Calgary probably wanting to pay him based on last year's numbers. But we'll see. For the Calgary Flames, it's been a lot of doom and gloom this offseason. It would be nice to see Lindholm stick around. Honestly, I think it would be nice to see Hanifin stick around too. And maybe a similar situation to what we have with Pettersson here in Vancouver. They may want to see how the team does before making that decision on whether or not they'll stick around. And I think that's fair. I do. I think that's fair to say before I decide to commit to 6 years or 8 years here, I want to see how this organization does this year. I don't think that's completely unreasonable. And yet fans will get upset and media will be like, why aren't they signing? But I get it. Like, I understand why players wouldn't necessarily want to sign a long-term extension for 4, 6, or 8 years until they see where the team's going this season. But we'll see what happens with Lindholm. Now, the PWHL. So free agency opened on the 1st. There's been nothing. And so this is where, like, I find this to be a bit of a head scratcher. So you know that right now people are paying attention to the women's hockey, right? They're paying attention. It's a brand new league. Even people who aren't necessarily going to be going out to games, may not care otherwise, might be kind of curious to see where Sarah Nurse ends up, to see where Marie-Philip Poulin ends up, right? No signings. We're into day 3, no signings. Not only that, but the social media for the PWHL, radio silent since the 1st. This is an absolute, I think that's a mistake. Just imagine if free agency arrived in the NHL on July 1st. July 3rd, there's no signings, nothing. So I understand that they've just named general managers and that there's still a lot of setup that's going on. But this was the time to, before players get into training camps and the NHL ramps up, this was the time to do signings and make a big deal of it. Name all 18, have all 6 teams sign 3 players and name them all something, some kind of an excitement. And it's just there hasn't been any signings. So to me, it feels like a missed opportunity. Because if the signings don't show up until the 5th or 6th or 7th, again, the closer you get to the start of NHL training camp, the less eyeballs, the less interest you're going to get on who's been signed in the PWHL. So we will see. It is less than 3 weeks until training camp starts. I was looking around. Most training camps, it seems, are starting on the 21st. So it's right around 3 weeks before the start of the regular season when we'll see the training camps opening up. And so not all teams are starting then. Vancouver, I know, is starting theirs in Victoria on the 21st. There were a few others I saw with the 21st. There may be some that opened a little bit later than that. But keep in mind that a lot of players are already in town. They're already skating. There's already informal workouts going on. So players are anxious to get back at it, and the earlier you get back at it and get yourself in game shape, the better you're going to be. Interesting news with Detroit, and I think this is kind of fun. So Jeff Petry, of course, traded to Montreal and then traded to Detroit. He is going to wear the number 46 for the Detroit Red Wings, and that's significant because his father, Dan Petry, wore that number for the Detroit Red Wings, or Detroit Tigers. He was a baseball player, not a hockey player, and I know that because I watched Dan Petry play, and he was a good baseball player. So I think this is a good story. We'll see if Jeff Petry has a really strong season in Detroit, because again, you get your family lineage, and I think you'll have some fun this year on a Detroit team that may very well be underrated right now when we're looking at season previews and where everybody has them slotted. I could see Detroit proving people wrong. But we'll see. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always, regarding any of these items. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.